Well, hello everybody. It's Real Honesty with John Ritland. I'm John Ritland, and NXT Takeover Chicago is over. And well, what a show it was! It was, in my opinion, a lot better than San Antonio and even Orlando. And that's not knocking either of those shows. This is probably the best takeover since Toronto, maybe the best one since Takeover Brooklyn 2. It had a really good, pace to it. It had each of the matches meant something. I was a little thrown off by the placement of the NXT title match, but it made more sense when you saw the end result of it. But basically, the main card, I mean, you had Tom Phillips, Nigel McGuinness, and Percy Watson. Percy Watson isn't very good at commentary, is he? No, he's really not. He's not horrible. I mean, he's got time to grow into the role. He's just not very good right now. But you start off with Eric Young and Roderick Strong. I think Roderick Strong's going to need new theme music before the end of the year. His theme music isn't really inspired. It's very generic. I like Eric Young's Sandy music. I think Sandy's a nice stable that could stick around for a few years. At least a couple years. It was a good, hard-hitting match, as you would expect from these guys. Roderick Strong's been great for a number of years, been a fan of his since his time in TNA Impact Wrestling years and years ago. And his runs in Ring of Honor were great. Eric Young, his time in TNA Impact Wrestling was also great. And it was what you would expect from an opening match like this. This match was just literally added to the card, Wednesday, just before Takeover. Just this past Wednesday, a few days ago. Made official. I mean, obviously they had taped it way in advance, so this match had already been in the cards, but it wasn't announced until then. And there's some history here, and it was really nice. Strong attacked, Desmond Wolfe and Killian Dane before the match, and played defense there, and kept trying to outwit them despite the numbers game. A great flying elbow by Eric Young. I think Eric Young's been a great heel. And it's great that he's in NXT, and same with Roderick Strong. Both guys have definitely cut their teeth and been really, really good and really proper for the NXT brand and for the brands that they were part of before. And this was a very good opening match. Roderick Strong gets the win. I thought it was nice because Eric Young had his string of beating people up and that kind of stuff, and he had been beat by Ty Dillinger just, after WrestleMania 33 in a cage match, and then he lost here. And this was fine. This was a good way, and it was good for Roderick Strong to get the win. I'm not saying this is the end of the feud. I think this could go on TV for a little bit, and maybe you could even end up having a tag match or a six-man. You could have Roderick Strong with a couple people at TakeOver Brooklyn 3, but really nice, fun opening match. Very good. Then you had Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate, and in my opinion, the match of the night. Now, that's not knocking the efforts of anybody in the following matches or even the first match. Like I said, Strong versus Young was a very good match, but Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate for the UK Championship, JR and Nigel McGuinness on the call. It was great. The crowd was split, but it almost seemed like Dunne was getting more chance. Chicago's known as a bit of a controversial crowd, but all the bruiser way chants and just the working on a body part and the great antics by Pete Dunne. I mean, the guy's just a great wrestler and a great heel. I quickly became a fan of his when I saw the UK Championship tournament. I think the guy's got a great future as a heel in WWE, not just for the UK brand, but I think for WWE TV. I think this guy on Raw or SmackDown could be great. Yeah, size might be an issue in Vince's eyes, but my God, this guy's a star. That's not taking anything away from Tyler Bate. Tyler Bate also is a great, great talent. Very good talent, and somebody that is going to just continue to grow. The guy's only 20 years old. Pete Dunne isn't much older. He's, been around for a few more years, but he's still really young. So a couple really young talents where this feud could go on for a while. And I mean, I'm not saying have it every takeover, but this could transition to Raw or SmackDown. If you wanted to put the UK Championship, brand on SmackDown at some point, I think that'd be fine, and I think that'd be a good way to do it. It would be a way to, branch it out and let other people see this great style. And, there was some great technical wrestling by both guys. The finishers, teasing the finishers, could Dunn, get over his hand injury that Dunn had inflicted on him. Now, the crowd was really on fire. It was actually, the crowd was, I think, burned out at this point. I think this match burnt the crowd out for a bit. One could argue that maybe this match should have been on third or fourth, but it was really at least third. I mean, nothing against the women, but maybe this match should have been about middle of the card. It was really good, though. It was really, really fun. And Pete Dunne getting the win, as I expected. And he didn't really cheat to do it. Like, Bate went for a dive on the outside, missed. Dunn threw him back in, hit the bitter end, 1, 2, 3. That was good. I mean, I'm not saying Dunn didn't use underhanded tactics during the match, but the ending was clean as a whistle. It was just Bate made a mistake. And it was really fun. It was a damn good match. This would be on the short list. I would put this up there. I would actually say this was better than their UK Championship match that they had in the finals of the UK tournament. It was just really, really fun. A damn fun match. Great stuff. Great stuff by all the guys. And then you had Asuka versus Ruby Riott and Nikki Cross. First off, these three women in the ring, yes, I had some dirty thoughts. Sorry. I mean, they're beautiful women, and I happen to really like Asuka, as you can see by the shirt. But decent exchanges. All three women had their moments. I think what didn't help was Ember Moon getting injured. That's not Ember Moon's fault. Accidents happen, unfortunately. Ember Moon will be back for TakeOver Brooklyn 3. Ember will beat Asuka then, and as she should, because by then it will be about 500 days, or close. I think if I'm right about the amount of days, I think Asuka's at 413. They said, so Asuka will be at or just over 500 days by the time Takeover Brooklyn 3 happens, and that'd be fine. It'd be fine for Ember Moon to end the streak then, and Ember Moon could feud with the likes of Peyton Royce, Billie Kay, Nikki Cross, Ruby Riott could get a shot in there. I think you could have a layered, women's division. I don't think Liv Morgan really should get a shot. She's not really all that good. Neither is Aaliyah. But the four that I mentioned before, Nikki Cross, Billie Kay, Peyton Royce, and God, and damn it, and I just totally forgot. I just totally forgot the other one. The whole point is that a lot of the women really could benefit from being in the ring. With Ember Moon, I think Ember could have some really good matches, but this was Asuka's night, and it was a very fun match. It was, if I had to really say, this is probably the least of the matches on the card, and that's not knocking the women. It's just for all the energy and the psychology and everything with the match. There was only so much that they could do. I think Ember not being in it kind of took some of the starch out of it, but Asuka, I think, was going to win regardless. And then Ember might have gotten her chance to win at TakeOver Brooklyn 3. So still, fun match for the women, enjoyable. And it was nice to see three tough, athletic, and beautiful women get in the ring and actually attack. Attack each other and go full force. It was good. And the double pin at the end, Asuka pinning both women, didn't make either woman look weak. Nikki Cross and Ruby Riott can continue their feud. And like I said, Asuka can face Ember Moon in 3 months. Velveteen Dream vignette, I don't really care. I mean, I believe it's Patrick from Tough Enough, if I'm right. I mean, I believe it is, and I hope he succeeds with the gimmick, but I don't care. Rude versus Itami. Itami didn't get the biggest pop. And I know he hasn't had too many takeover matches because he's been injured. I don't think he's had a takeover match in about 2 years, actually. Just over 2 years. Because of injuries. And thankfully he's healthy now. Rude was orange as hell. I mean, what was it? Was it the Cheeto Dust Factory, for tanning beds tonight? I mean, what the hell? That was ridiculous. Because Rude's a really good talent. It was a little distracting at first. But yeah, flat reaction sort of for Tommy. I hated the CM Punk chants, but I like how the crowd kind of turned on, most of the crowd, the smart fans, by the way, turned on the ones chanting CM Punk. Ones chanting CM Punk, you're all idiots. It had its moments. It had good psychology with working the injuries of Tommy with his ankle injury, or his, knee injury or whatever. He had a leg injury. That he worked so he couldn't hit the GTS properly. Rude had his shoulder injury, so anytime he hit an impactful, like, the glorious DDT or any move where he had to use his arms, that hurt. And it was good. The 2 DDTs to win the match was really, really good. I like the psychology of the match. I can't say that this was better than Dunn versus Bate. It wasn't. But was it better than Rude's matches with Nakamura? Yes. And that's not knocking Nakamura and Rude. They're both incredible workers. Something about their matches didn't fully click with me. This was at least a little better despite the short build it had. I can't say it was great, but it was good, and it was nice psychology of working the body part and telling the story with the injuries and Rude managing despite all the odds and the injured shoulder, those 2 straight glorious DDTs, which was a great finish. Now I think it's no doubt that Tommy goes to the main roster. There's no unless they want to have a Tommy get a rematch or maybe be part of a three-way at Takeover Brooklyn. What's the point? I mean, really, what's the point? Tommy's proven it. You might as well see what you can get with the guy on the main roster. I'm not saying the guy's going to do great, but it's like he's been injured so often since they signed him in 2014. They might as well give it a shot because he may not have that much left in the tank. Who knows? Maybe they keep him. I'm not sure what they're going to do, but I would almost move him up to the main roster because there's almost nothing more that you can do here. He tried, he failed. Move up there and let Drew McIntyre or Cassius Ohno again challenge or something. I don't know. Let somebody else challenge. Still, it was good for what it was. And Rude won, and he won clean, so that was nice. AOP versus DIY was a ladder match. AOP is still too young and too green to really be working these kinds of matches. They seem confused by some of the spots, but they hit some proper spots. DIY bumped like crazy though. DIY was hugely over. Hugely over. I mean, that was a massive reaction. There were hard hits with the ladder. Johnny Gargano taking a jawful hit. The splashes by DIY through the ladders. The German suplex by Ciampa throwing one of AOP through the ladder. I'm not sure if it was Akam or Razor. I can't tell them apart. I know one was born in the Netherlands and one was born in British Columbia. I looked up that much. But the double splash spot was cool. The German suplex was cool. There were a lot of cool spots. And AOP are proper monsters, and Ellering really helped him. Hell, Ellering even got super kicked in the match. That was really cool. It was a safe spot because Ellering is pretty old at this point. I think I want to say he's about 60. He's got to be about 60. And don't get me wrong, I mean the guy still lends a ton of credibility to AOP. I'm just saying it was at least a safe spot. But yeah, the crowd was pissed at the end because it looked like DIY was going to win, and they didn't. And then you had the whole thing, where AOP reigns supreme and DIY is leaving. The crowd chants all this big give them a big send off. It's the last match in NXT for DIY. Seemingly, we have the graphic showing thanks for joining, the trademark graphic and everything. And then Ciampa throws Gargano into the staging and into the screens and goes all psycho killer as he did on the Indies. Man, that was great. That was just wonderful. That was wonderful stuff. I loved it. The reason I loved it is because it was about time it happened. And it was about time because DIY's thing was they had the chase to the championship, didn't quite get it to Takeover Brooklyn 2, got it to Takeover Toronto, lost it to AOP shockingly. When they didn't win it back at NXT Orlando, I'm thinking, okay, at some point, if it's not tonight, DIY's splitting up. And I'm only thinking that because what else are they going to do? The chase to the championship was better than them actually winning the championship. And that's not knocking them. It was great that they won the championship, but still, it was great stuff. It was wonderful. It was great that Ciampa went full heel, and you could even see it in his eyes, even though he was in character. Even though it's like his best friend, they're still friends. But, oh my God, just the pain and the shock of Gargano's face and the look of betrayal. But Ciampa himself, he didn't want to do it. He didn't want to do it. I mean, that's his friend. I mean, and that's not saying that they aren't professionals and everything, but he looked like, maybe we have more to do, but it was heartbreaking to see. And it was expected. I can't say this was quite as built up as the Owens-Jericho breakup, back in February. Why is my name on here? But this was really, really good, and it's going to give us a proper program for Brooklyn 3. I think it's going to be really fun, and Gargano versus Ciampa, Takeover Brooklyn 3, some kind of street fight, do something like that. Make it, street fight falls count anywhere, whatever. Make it where you're just going to go all out, and then you send both guys to the main roster. You can have this feud go to that point, and then bring them up to the main roster. Because you got enough teams now. You got enough teams that are starting to build where it'll work. They'll probably have Heavy Machinery take the titles off of AOP, God forbid. Heavy Machinery is not bad. I don't think they're ready. But boy, that was a fun ending. I don't want to say it was a perfect takeover. I just can't think of anything really horrible in it. that would prevent me from saying anything other than A minus. I mean A minus. And I'm not going to say A. I'm not going to say A plus. Actually, you know what? I'll say A. And I'll say A because of the Ciampa heel turn. And I'll say that because it was properly done. It was great. It was very, very good. Even with AOP botching, AOP's still a project that they got to keep in NXT for a while. However, it was really enjoyable. I will bump it up to an A because of the Ciampa heel turn. And because of Dunn versus Bate. Young versus Strong. And just the efforts of everybody. Now, does that mean that it's going to be Backlash? Backlash could be great. Backlash could be A plus quality tomorrow. It probably won't be because Jinder will win, unfortunately. But man, it had one match of the year candidate and a great, oh my god, and a great oh my god moment, like how dare you moment from Ciampa turning on Gargano. So that was great. So anyway, that's what I gotta say. So A for me from Takeover Chicago. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Like, share, comment, subscribe. Twitter link is in the description. It's been Real Honesty with John Ritlin. I'm John Ritlin. I'll see you soon.